Hello, everyone. I'm going to take a little bit of time here. See if I can get the lighting a little better. It's a little better. Yeah, we'll stick with that. All right. I wanted to take some time here and just go through the simulation. So let me share my screen. All right, here we go. So this is our Halo dashboard. To get to the simulation, you can do it one of two ways. You can go through the syllabus and you can click on resources and you can find this mega learning simulation right here and click view resource. If you prefer, you can just in your left-hand menu, click on class resources and go straight to it. I find that way to be a little quicker, but either way will get you to the same place. Okay, now my view is going to be slightly different because it is the instructor view. Mine says manage simulation. Yours will say something a little different, but click on the button and it will take you in. As I said, mine looks a little different as the instructor, but I'm going to go into yellow here because yellow is not an active team. And you should see something like this, depending on which team color you are. You'll have the yellow dashboard or the blue dashboard or the purple dashboard corresponding to your team color. Right. Now up here, we have several tabs at the top and we will look at those, but we're going to start with our dashboard. And right here, little below the top, you see 6 items: CO2 emissions, sales revenue, return on capital employed, ARE, which stands for accumulated retained earnings, employee morale, and share value. Each one of these are important because the simulation will grade you on each one of these to determine your team position. Now, this dashboard here just shows one decision having been made. Period 4, P4 is period 4. It's where we started. Period 5 is where everybody's at now. Any of these teams, if you don't want to see them in the dashboard, you can simply click on the team name at top and it will remove them. So right here, I'm seeing just yellow team. So yellow team right now is ranked at 3rd, 123 CO2. Sales revenue, we're ranked at 5th in sales revenue. Return on capital employed, 5th. ARE, accumulated retained earnings, we're 5th. Here we're 3rd with current sales revenue. And share value, we're 5th place. All right, so that gives you a good snapshot of where you are for each of the items that are graded in the simulation to determine your position in each round. Now, on the lower right, you see these financial indices. We have the business index. The business index is the state of the economy. And in this graph, when I click on the business index, it opens up a graph and it shows me that between period 4 and period 5, the economy is slightly stronger. As we go through many simulations, you'll see the line change for each period. Production cost index is the cost of production, and you can see it's going up, which means the amount of resources it takes to produce our cars is increasing. And gas price index is just that. It's the price of gas. We started at 105. Currently, it's 196. So almost $1 a gallon higher. Up here, we have other tabs. The company tab takes me first to my financial statements. And the first one is the income statement. Up here, there are two tabs as well, financial statement, operations. Let's look at financial statement first. I can see my current sales revenue, my net profit after tax, and this is for the whole company, is minus $511, which means I lost over $500. I did not make any money. There's a graph here. And here it'll break each period into these various expenses. But at the bottom, I have an income statement. This is a simplified income statement. It shows me the previous period and then the period we just finished. So I did earn more sales revenue. That's an improvement. Cost of goods went down. Depreciation, relatively the same. Cost of non-quality is about the same. So gross profit did increase. But then I had this big marketing expense, which is the same as last time. Engineering went down a little bit. HR and quality went way up. So if I had not spent as much on HR and quality, I could have made a little money. That left me with a negative EBIT of $271. And then I get charged interest, which gives me a negative net profit after tax of $511. You need to review your income statement after each decision. I want you to look at each column and see if there were major changes from one period to the next. Look to see if you made a gross profit. Is the gross profit this time better or worse than last? If it's better, what ate up most of our profit? And here we can see everything else being the same. If I had not increased HR and quality as much, I could have made a profit. We have a cash flow statement. Cash from operations, I lost cash. I don't have as much cash this time as I did the previous period. Your cash flow statement will be down here, and you should review it the same. Now, one thing I want to point out here is that each and every one of these lines is clickable. And if I click on cash, let's say cash at end, it shows me where every other team ended up. Who had the most cash, who had the least cash, who lost the most cash. Then we have a balance sheet. This is divided into your assets. And again, I can click on each line. So here I can see who has the most assets currently, and that would be purple. That tells me that they have made some investments. Liabilities and equity. So who has the most long-term debt? I can click on this. Everybody's about the same except for green. ARE, where's everybody's ARE at? I can compare it here as well. So click on everything. Make sure you drill in. On the operations tab, this is an overview of operations. And you see you can do this one by business unit. So let's say I want to look at image. My engineering budget increased. You can see where my expenses were, marketing. Down here, we have more reports. So here's our sales report. Again, any line is clickable. I can see who made the gross profit, financial report and CO2, and then a production report. Current production volume, 64 here. Okay, now why doesn't this show me what my competitors are doing? And I'll show you, you do actually have access to your competitors' information, but just not on this page. All right, so then we can look at markets. You have my competitors and market overview. So under my competitors, we can see I had 6% of the low-cost market, 21% of family, 24% of eco-friendly, and 22% of image. Over here, we have bubbles that represent market share. So mine here is very small, but blue had 28%. So they're doing well. Now you have all these reports that are going to help you. So sales, I can see we're in low cost. You see low cost stays up here. I can see how many sales every team had of low cost. So if I had 13, I had the lowest. Who had the most? Well, blue, green, and purple all had the same amount of sales. So what are they doing that I'm not? Let's look at price. My price is 51. That's high. And I am the highest out of all my competitors. The next highest is 46. Most of the competitors are between 41 and 42. So it's possible that I priced myself pretty well out of the market. How about marketing expense? I spent 280, same as green, but other teams were spending more marketing dollars, and more marketing dollars spent in the right way will cause you to have more orders and more sales as long as you have the cars available to sell. So engineering, number one is best. This is a forced ranking. So red team had the best engineering. Two teams were tied. Yellow and green were tied for third, and blue had fourth. Engineering appeal. You can see what everybody's engineering appeal was. You can see yellow was at 100%. Red was at 124%. But if we look at red, sales, they had high sales, but not the highest sales, even though their engineering appeal was higher. CO2 emissions for low cost, purple was best, and then green, red, yellow, and blue. Low cost producer, again, this is a forced ranking. Number one is best. So blue had the lowest cost for producing their cars. And now we can look at plant capacity. So here's what everyone's plant capacity is going to be. You can see everybody started at 58. Green and purple are still 58, which tells you they did not invest in their low-cost facilities, but red, blue, and yellow did. Blue invested the most. They've increased by about 25 cars. So if I see that, I can see that likely this team is trying to capture the market on low cost. Then I have to decide, do I want to compete with that, or do I want to let them have it? And you can do that with each business line. Now, if we look at market overview, we can look at the orders for each business line from period 4 to period 5. And then you'll have period 4, 5, 6, and then it'll add 7. It'll keep going until we're done. And you can see whether the orders are increasing or decreasing. And then we have a comparison of orders and sales. So there were 244 orders in the entire region. So that includes all the teams, 244 orders, only 209 sales. That means there were about 30 cars or so orders that were placed that are not filled, and those sales are lost because there's no back orders in this game. That also tells you there's opportunity between 209 and 244 to sell some additional cars. Now, low cost, the market did decline some, so it's possible that the orders could be less than 244 this time, but for any teams that built capacity, they now have an opportunity to take up this gap and sell more cars. Here we have marketing expenses rising and engineering expenses decreasing a bit. All right, so that's an overview of the different tabs. Those are tabs you're going to want to look at each decision round to do your analysis, see what worked for you, what didn't work for you, and try and determine why it worked or didn't work. And then what are your competitors doing? And that's all part of the analysis you need to do. What's the market doing? What are your competitors doing? What are we doing internally, right or wrong? What do we need to change to be more competitive? And once you've got that figured out, we go to our decisions. We have business line decisions and corporate decisions. The business line decisions, you will make decisions for each business unit separately. And the way you make decisions is, number one, you've got to look at your cheat sheet, which is available in the simulation. Under this tab here, if I go to documents, the cheat sheet will be available. But if design is important, I decide, where do I want to put design? Is comfort, how important is comfort? So you want to invest something in each one of these. How much is going to depend on what your customers want or don't want. I'm going to set these all back to 0 because yellow's not an active team. I don't want it competing. And then you will see as you make decisions that your marketing appeal may change. It may go up, it may go down, or your engineering appeal rather. Your decisions will also affect your CO2 emissions. Less is better for CO2. More is generally better for engineering, but we've seen that the highest engineering appeal doesn't automatically guarantee that you're going to sell the most cars. And then you have to know which types of these 4 marketing triggers do your customers for this business line respond to. So if we're looking at low cost, what's important in terms of marketing for low cost customers? And then you make your decisions accordingly. And you can see some decisions will impact your marketing appeal, some won't. So you get that to where you want it, where you think it'll help you sell the number of cars that you're able to produce. You want to try not to have any more orders than you have of cars available. Get those two numbers, orders and sales, as close together as possible. Once you've got all your decisions in, you can look at your value chain here. You still have access to your sliders, so you can still make adjustments. Engineering expense, you see we're going down because I've zeroed everything out. CapEx per unit cost is going down. Field failure rate's going way down. Finally, we get to our budget. Now, these budget numbers, all these numbers will flow from the decisions you make in your sliders over here. So my price right now is set as 80. That's way too high. But again, I don't want this team competing against the other teams that are actual teams. We have the market size. So we have 244 was the total market size. We have to forecast, is this market growing or shrinking? Then once we figure it out, we put that number in there. Let's say it's going to be 250. Okay. And then what percentage? I got 5%. Let's say I think I can get 7% this time. So that shows me a 3% increase in the market, 30% increase in my market share. Production volume, generally, if you can produce 59 cars, if your usable capacity is 59, you want to budget for 59. And then sales volume. If I have 97 cars to sell, I want to try and sell all 97. Everything else calculates from the other decisions you've made. Okay, I'm going to reset these. Once you have all your business level decisions in for all 4 business lines, then you can go to your corporate level decisions. Now, these are corporate levels, so this applies to all of your business units. Most of these numbers are going to flow from the decisions you've already made. Here, we have investment in facility. Your facilities are the manufacturing facilities where you're manufacturing your cars. Current capacity is 64. So if I wanted to build, let's say, 10 more cars, I would take 64, 10 more would be 74. 74 times 15. Let's say if it was 1,000, then I put that in there and it adjusts my number. So once you have your rough calculation in there and you want it to go down, just keep playing with that number until this bottom number gets to where you want it. And you can invest in any facility. You can invest in no facilities, whatever you choose to do. My recommendation is that you at least cover depreciation. You can see some of those are going up. All right. So here's your cash flow. BU free cash flow means business unit free cash flow. The more you invest in your facilities, the more these numbers will go negative. But if your strategy right now is to invest in your facilities, then that's an okay number for it to be negative because you're investing in your capital. Dividend, you can see the max dividend is 0. That's because you can't give a dividend if you don't have positive ARE, accumulated retained earnings. HR and quality, you want to spend something in here for HR and quality. The default is $150. But you can see if I do $150 in there, let's look at our EBIT numbers real quick. If I were to do $1,500, all my EBIT went negative because the amount you spend in HR and quality is divided between all your 4 business units. So you don't want to do 0. You want to spend something, but you also, once you decide what to spend in HR and quality, you want to come up here and see what it's done to your operations. You may need to make some further adjustments to try and get your business units profitable. Long-term loan repayment, you do not ever in this game have to repay the loan. We can see 12,000 is the maximum repayment, and that's because our loans right now are at 12,000. You have cash at start, 24,000 plus. Cash available now, 19,800. It's okay to budget all the cash you have available, but this should not be negative. It must be 0 or a positive number before you can validate and we can run the simulation. And down here, we have a long-term loan. It will tell you what the maximum loan you can take is. This is a decision to be made as a team. I always recommend taking the loan the first period. After that, you want to watch your liquidity ratio, your leverage, and see what that's doing to your interest rate. Once we have all our decisions in, we feel good about our analysis, we feel good about our business level decision, we feel good about our corporate level decision. Now it's time to validate. And only one person on the team has to validate. And when you click validate, you need to scroll to the bottom, say send your decision, click your sliders, and say send your decision. Now, if you do this and decide, oh, I forgot to do something on my decision for my image cars, you can go back in and you can continue to work. It doesn't lock you out. But once you finish, you want to go back and validate. What validate does is it signals to me that you're ready to run the simulation. You see this solid green line around any of the teams tells me that those teams have validated. Each week, you'll have 2 class periods to work on this with your team members. If you're a remote student, if you're an online student, and if you're not able to connect with your team during our regular class hours, please connect with your team to figure out what your responsibilities on the team are going to be and how you are going to help make decisions. You need to participate in the decision-making in order to get your participation points. And there will be other consequences too if you don't actually participate in decision-making. Teams are authorized to give anyone who doesn't participate in the simulation decisions a 0 on the peer reviews. And that's going to result in a grade you don't want. So that's an overview of the simulation. If you have any questions, reach out to me. There's a lot more nuance into actually making your decisions. And so make sure you connect with your teams, make sure you understand the decision, make sure you ask any questions that you have. Ask all the questions you possibly can so that we can interact. And then that's how you're going to learn and get the most out of this class. So that's it for this overview. I will look at making some more videos later to help guide you through some of the analysis itself in a more detailed level.